So I've been back in Missouri for about a week now. And coming back from Oregon, before I'd left and even while I was in Oregon, spent a lot of time talking about really trying to change in a way to be prepared physically and spiritually, as well as mentally, for growing old in a world of normalcy. But in addition to that, and normalcy often includes a lot of high-risk situations and violence. But in addition to that, being prepared for a time of trouble. I'm not prepared for a time of trouble physically at all. And I might like to believe that I'm prepared spiritually, but I think I'd probably find I'm not even close. So I've made some changes in my life. I'm trying to get out and walk a lot, just in the wilderness, up and down hills, get into the gym more. I've changed my diet quite a bit over the last year, but the physical, the working out, the getting out in nature, try to be out in the elements when it's freezing cold, raining, whatever the case may be. But in addition to that, what I'm doing is I'm seeking help from friends. There's a friend who runs kind of a Brazilian tactical judo studio. He was the SRO at a school I worked at in Kansas City, very rough school. Him and I have broken up a few tuffles together back in the day. And he's a very, very spiritually and physically tough individual. So I'm going to be going to his studio. In addition to that, I have a friend who, he lost 110 pounds in 7 months. And he did it by eating some of the hottest peppers in the world. Actually, more specifically, the hottest pepper in the world. And over the months, he would just kind of do that once a week. Every Sunday is what he did. And then after that time, he tried to make it easier to swallow, so to say. So over the years, he's created essentially a drink that is pretty good. For having the hottest peppers in the world in it, I don't even know if I'd even say it's hot. It just kind of is tingly. It makes you kind of, that's interesting. But it's really not bad. So he got me a 3-month supply of it. He created a 3-month supply, but through that process, he's also recently gave out, I think, to 50 people to try it. But he is taking pre-orders from 500 people. Because this is something he's just kind of venturing out. But his product, so far, I'm 3 weeks in. And here's what I can say. I was able to climb up some pretty big hills in Oregon that I don't think I could have necessarily climbed them as easy about a month ago. And then I pulled my ACL, and it still really hurts. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I'm out here walking like it's healed quickly. Now, it still hurts, mostly in the downhill. I got to take as long as I walk like a robot, I'm okay. Any sharp turns or anything like that, then it hurts severely. I still haven't been to the doctor. I am going to go to the doctor, but I find that I'm healing quickly. So that's just 3 weeks in, so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to put the link to that below. That's not what this video is. I'm going to do a full video on that after I've kind of experienced it for a few months. But if you're interested in the pre-order, that link is below. But in addition to that, I'm also seeking a friend of mine who's a a resilience coach, and kind of what that means is he's a great friend of mine. He's older than I am. I worked with him in Harlem. He's a very tough individual, and he is in incredibly shredded condition. It's very impressive, the condition that he's in, and it's really not because he's physically any, better than I am, or it's really about what he did with his mind. He transformed the way he thinks about working out, for me. And that's why I'm seeking his help, because I know who I am. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll think, I'm going to work out. And I'll be like, well, I'll work out in the afternoon. And then I'm not going to work out in the afternoon. I do know that. I know that for sure. So I'm going to start working with him to just really change the way I think about my health. But the biggest piece of all this, and this is because I kind of wondered, well, how are we going to talk about this? And it's pretty boring. I'm not going to film me working out or like that. Although here I am walking. I just walked mostly down a mountain. This is our driveway, by the way. Goes all the way to the bottom of this mountain. All the way to the top of that mountain. I didn't go all the way. I turned around down there. It's pretty muddy. It gets pretty muddy right about there. My feet are about 10 pounds heavier each one. And it got worse going down. So now I'm turning around and walking back up. But the biggest piece for me, and this is what I thought, well, how can we tie all this together with the channel and the content and becoming spiritually strong? And I realized that, about a year ago, I started to go through the book of Joshua, verse by verse. And the book of Joshua is really the most incredible book. It's on spiritual warfare, both physical and literal, because physical warfare is a product of spiritual warfare. Almost all of it is part of this evil plot of fallen angels to destroy mankind, to kill, steal, and destroy. And being engaged in the spiritual war is going to strengthen you and give you some assurances in the physical war. Because Joshua is a play-by-play blueprint of how the men and women of God engage in tremendous victory in warfare. And during the times of tribulation, there is going to be a remnant of people who will stand up for the things of Jesus Christ. And God will sustain them for 3.5 years. But in order to be sustained for 3.5 years, these men and women of God who will be sustained for 3.5 years while they war against the world, they need to understand how God wars. Because God is a warrior, and God loves a warrior. So through this process, I think when I just get out on these walks, kind of like I did in Oregon, I won't necessarily carry you with me while I walk, but at least when I get done or to the bottom of a hill or at the top, we'll kind of go through, we will go through Joshua verse by verse and try to apply that to our lives, while ideally we are physically preparing ourselves, while we spiritually prepare ourselves for the hard things and the hard work of the men and women of God. So that's what this series is going to be. I think to get through the book of Joshua, I believe would take, 3 to 4 years maybe. So if you're going to join me on this journey, join me fully on this journey. Don't just, watch the videos. Change your life. Prepare for a time of trouble. I mean, this is the good life right here. It only gets harder, especially when you're doing the things in the work of God. So, how beautiful it is out here. So pretty. There's you kind of can't see the bottom, but you go all the way down the bottom, there's a river down there, the Niagara River, if you're familiar with that. So, any thoughts or insight on any of that, definitely put that below. There's a lot of other things we're doing on the channel, but this is something that has to be done. I have to put a priority on this. And I figured, this is something that I believe I need to be doing. And I'm certain, as I've reached out to a lot of you all, that you have the same concerns I do. And I think this is a good way to spiritually and physically prepare for whatever it is God has for us. Because whatever God has for us is going to be difficult. That I know for sure. So any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put that in the comments below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. This will probably start now, really. We'll get into this pretty quickly, and it's going to be an awesome ride. So thoughts or insight, put that below. Obviously, leave your prayer requests as well. So thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.